Hey everybody, Nightmare on Kelp Street back, and today I'm going to be doing a little bit of channel upkeeping. I know it's been a while since I've done one of these Friday wrap-ups, you can kind of see from the title, but I want to kind of come back and do some upkeeping for the past few weeks that I've missed. I know, it's been a little while since I've uploaded one of these videos. This was going to be one of the first unedited ones on the channel, because I want to kind of burn through these a little faster, since I have like 2 or 3 weeks backed up. I know these Friday wrap-ups aren't the most watched videos on the channel, but it's still a personal endeavor that every time I do one, it makes me feel good, and I hope some of my members connect with it for these kind of weekly or semi-weekly updates. I know sometimes life just gets busy. Through editing these, sometimes I kind of overthink it and get too in the weeds about what I want it to look like, how I want it to appear, if I want the album art on the screen. But I eventually edit in bits where I kind of like go back and forth on ideas I might differ on or something. But for today, I'm just going to kind of rattle them through, try to catch my speech mannerisms where I say and things like that. And I hope y'all enjoy it. Just getting some music updates just off the cuff here. My big friend back here, Pink Bear, he's like 7 or 8 foot tall. He's going to be keeping my cushion when I kind of lay back and get into the groove of it for a while. So I hope you don't mind that. This might be one of the longer videos, actually, because I'm going to, just kind of not going to weed through all the extra stuff or stuttering and things like that, or take a drink. But, let's kind of get started. Let's get to it. One last channel upkeeping thing. If you're returning to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for being here, my little kelpies. If you're not, I pretty regularly, whether through shorts or YouTube videos, cover something at least once a month on this channel for new music. So I highly suggest sticking around for that. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll get all the YouTuber upkeep out of the way there. Okay, so my first listen in the past, since the past Friday wrap up on this channel, that I really enjoyed as a full project album that I loved was by this artist called Georgie, haha, with a little lowercase haha with a little period. This was a genuinely surprising listen, really deep introspective listen about how her and her relationship and how she wants to get close to somebody, but they don't want to give it all the way back, so they eventually end up breaking up, but she's like, it's for the better. If anyone this year has heard of the album, This Wasn't Meant For You Anyway, that album was incredible, and I can't remember the artist off the top of my head, but I'll try to look it up here for a second. What was it called? This Wasn't Meant... by Lola Young. This Wasn't Meant For You Anyways, by Lola Young. That was an incredible listen this year, more so on the side of this girl is being like, oh, if men are going to use me, I'll just use them back, and kind of assessing her own problems with that. But this album was more on the side of wanting to emotionally give yourself over to somebody more, but they don't want to give it back in that type of relationship. So that was unfortunate to hear, but I think it's a very human and raw experience to have. So I'm glad to hear somebody kind of go through that and express that through music. I might take a few pauses here to drink water, but I want to burn through these, get them off. Not just for the audience, but also for me to kind of upkeep what I've been listening to recently. And eventually at the end of this year, I'll do a best of and worst of the year list, whether that be for albums or songs. Maybe both. If I in the energy to do it, I'll do both. Video for both. My next favorite listen of these past few weeks is Dua Soleil, I Should Call Them. Dua Soleil, Salah, one of the two pronunciations, excuse me, is a Muslim artist who is also openly non-binary, so I love to see and support other non-binary artists out there. This was a shorter listen, just like the Georgie album. It's roughly 30 to 40 minutes long. I heard it riding around my car for my stops for work and stuff like that. It's a very R&B rap-heavy album. I guess I would say the Georgie album is more indie pop, indie rock, would be my considerations for that one, yeah. But yeah, I just had a personal connection. I think the Dua Soleil one, I connect with a lot more. Georgie, just in general, has song quality that's creeping up to my top 10 or top 15 in the year, though, so highly suggest that one, but I highly suggest both of these, honestly. The third listen is more of a vibey listen. I was kind of late at night playing video games, getting my things winded down, and I auto-played this album, Open Till Midnight, by Picaro and Star Moon, two artists that seemingly do more instrumental or very lo-fi hip-hop electronic type beats. And I really like this one. I didn't finish it all the way, but I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to listening to it again when the mood's right and kind of getting into it. It's a really soothing listen. Not a lot of vocals on the album, but great instrumental listen if you're into things like that. Glorilla, Glorious. This was one of the most recent albums that came out. It came out within the past week or so, marking Glorilla making 30-something songs this year, which I think quality-wise, this album felt like the B-sides of her previous album that she just dropped earlier this year. But yeah, I don't know. It just didn't really hit for me. I kind of wish, you know, she would have let it cook for another year or so and then put out the highlights of what's been going on in the past year, instead of something like this that was felt like the B-sides of the other album. The earlier album she dropped in April 2024 called Everything, just with E-H-H. Yeah, most of this album was pretty good. I would say 12 songs, all pretty banging. I love kind of listening on my record player or listen to it and riding around with the bass up. I think it fits that type of vibe, but the second album just didn't really do it for me, so I didn't finish it. But it had some highlights, Megan Thee Stallions on it, so I would suggest that one. That's kind of it for what I have to say about that album. Next, Russell Boring by Joba. Why I had a few records lined up here today was to kind of talk about, so I'm not going to have a lot of visuals. Joba was a part of Brockhampton. He was one of the few vocal members of Brockhampton, and this is my favorite Brockhampton album, Iridescence. I figured, since sometimes when the topics come up, I'll bring it up and bring up like what type of records I own or what type of art is on the channel. I know some people use YouTube for just background noise, like listen to a YouTuber or something like that. Like I do that pretty frequently with podcasts and stuff. But if you do want a visual, what I'm currently showing on screen is what the record looks like for its iridescent see-through. Like you can actually see my head to the other side of the record. And it's a double disc. It's a double disc see-through album. Yeah, this was one of Brockhampton's longer albums. It's roughly about 50 minutes, closer to an hour, I'd say. But still easily my favorite because it gets so experimental and weird compared to every other Brockhampton album that I'm just never over it. I'm like, wow, it sounds so dark and gritty, but also really wholesome and wholesome and soothing and comforting at times. It's both. It's weirdly both. But that's what I love about it. I love the range of emotions you can get through one album like that. So I highly suggest this album specifically throughout Brockhampton. Even with all their controversies, this is an incredible album. It kind of was born out of their controversies because Amir had just quit, and they recorded Iridescence in the same studio that the Beatles used for Abbey Road, and challenged himself to less than 3 weeks of record time, I believe, to finish it within 2 or 3 weeks. So I highly suggest Iridescence by Brockhampton, and I highly suggest the newest Russell Boring album, Joba. It's a bit slower than anything else Brockhampton's been releasing or anything on Brockhampton. I mean, that's like the solo releases after they've been broken up. But it's a good album nonetheless. I would say it's probably the most toned down album out of all these. It's more of a focus in, really, if you like piano, if you like orchestra type music, if you like rap fusion with piano and stuff like that, more stripped back type rapping or singing. The outro song is really weird. The outro stuck with me a lot. So just off that alone, listen to the last song if you want to give it a shot and see if you want something weird like that. And then I listened to Tilly by Tillyverse, and this is the last full album on the list. I'll kind of explain what else I'm going to cover in the video today, but this is the last full project, just full released album on its own. Tillyverse was a weird listen. I listened to it in the bathroom with Jenny while we were doing some upkeep for the night, either night routines, things like that, lotion, getting brush teeth, all that, And it's roughly 20 to 28 minutes long, less than 30 minutes, I'm pretty sure. And the last 2 or 3 songs kind of jab at things like feminism, men's, it's hard to describe. The last few songs get into mocking men and masculinity and how that's kind of presented. Some really weird bits, especially in the last song, left me with a weird taste in my mouth. A very hyperactive album. I would say it's close to hyperpop, electronic, a bit noisy at times, alt pop, kind of horrorcore in some of his topics, like jellyfish coming and killing the city or stuff like that. Just abstract. It's just a strange listen. More the alt femme singer. So think more like Halsey and things like that, but a little weirder. I'd suggest giving it a shot if any of that sounds interesting to you. But I finished it once, I haven't been back to it. So far, I need to pick a right time to really get back into it, Maybe on some coffee and Red Bull and got a few hits in me. Maybe it'll finally click. And then the next are things that I would consider album quality and structure, but not standalone albums. So for example, Brat, and it's completely the same, but also it's completely different, but also the same. So the newest Brat remix album that Charli XCX released, pretty much adding on multiple features to every song. This is one of my favorite listens of this month, honestly. I already love Brat, and I made a video extensively on the channel talking about what Brat Summer is and how I've really been embracing that in the music culture this year. But just to burn through some of my favorite features on... Excuse me. Just to burn through some of my favorite features on Brat, let's go down the list of the feature list here. Young Lean at the very beginning talks about how he's like Elvis. Then we go to track number 3, which has been stuck in my head for days now. All the sympathy is just a knife wind, with Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande really opening up about how she's like, it's a knife wind. People think just your beauty is fake, and that your career is fake because of how you present yourself. And they both get really real on this track. I really love how, just like the original, they both really open up about things. I might say something stupid with 1975 was a weird choice because he's the man who's known to like eat raw meat on stage and kiss his fans, like, and he's been in weird controversies in the past year or two. But the song was okay. It was just it was a weird slowdown, a long slowdown right after "Sympathy's a Knife," which is one of the most upbeat tracks on the album. It was like a 4.5 minute slowdown, just like all slow dragging piano until the last 30 seconds, 40 seconds. So might be a skip in the future, but still worth the first listen. Talk from Troye Sivan, Gay Son, and Thought Daughter. If you've seen the live performances of them recently, they were wearing those shirts to match each other. Von Dutch with Addison Rae, pretty decent. Everything's Romantic, Caroline Polachek talking about listening to the Foxes Fuck, pretty good. Also another slow one, but a good slow build. I love Caroline Polachek, and I highly suggest listening to her if you haven't heard her. Girls Are Confusing with Lords, already been out for a while, but still really, really worth your time. It's a good listen if you haven't heard it yet. Back to Back with Tanashi. Mean Girls featuring Julian Casablanca of The Voids and The Strokes. Insane pick for these features. And then Billie Eilish on the outro. And then I'll kind of go over it a little bit. The most recent single, Spring Breakers with Kesha, was a pretty big surprise. And then Victoria Monet, Jaguar 2 Deluxe. The Deluxe edition is like another 20 to 30 minutes of music, so I'd consider it its own kind of standalone album, just tacked on to the end of Jaguar. And it makes sense if you listen to it, because you get to the very end and she's like, they're still talking about Jaguar, both 1 and 2. He'll be okay. And how her family's like, oh, you know, I'm proud of you for making it this far. You know, you can keep going. God bless you and all that. And I'm like, oh, that's a cute way to kind of end out the album on the look side. Yeah, that's pretty much all our core longer listens, LPs of projects in the past few weeks I've listened to. Now we're going to go into EPs. Girly Pop with Chrissy Schlepleka. I don't want to butcher her name, I'm sorry, but it's a long name. Just look up Girly Pop by Chrissy, Chrisissy. You'll find her. It's an incredible, very high femme, very appreciating the girls, very openly lesbian pop artist out there. Sounds a lot like Britney Spears, like almost on point on some songs, which is crazy. But I love Britney Spears, so I love this. And I always have, so, you know, I didn't think like going into this that I wouldn't. And I've been a fan of Chrissy for a few years, even just when she was dropping singles. So I highly suggest this as to listen if you're into like more upbeat pop, more just straight, not straight. If you're more into like some good upbeat gay pop. How to Make Another Masterpiece with Masterpiece, Masterpeace. It's an EP that he dropped an album earlier this year called How to Make a Masterpiece. So this is a kind of a follow-up on that, which I think is a pretty cool pun on like the name, his artist name, and well, what's it called? The front name, I'm pretty sure, something like that. And the title of the album being related to the artist's name. A lot of artists don't really do that anymore, so I think that's pretty cool. And this is a short 4-song EP, like 4 or 5 songs. Great listen, great vibey, dance rap, a bit rock and some. I'm back, had to clear some storage. But yeah, I would say this album is a pretty incredible listen. Its EP is an incredible listen. How to Make Another Masterpiece. He's like a British guy. So I would suggest it's like a 4 or 5 song, pretty dancey, like vibey EP. I listened to it while I was playing Magic's Gathering the other night. Mother EP by Mother. 4 new unreleased songs and 2 re-editions of some older songs. This one was pretty incredible. It was good to see old Mother music kind of coming out to light. This is a older copy of Oh My Heart. It's a black edition, but it's got like a bit of art on both sides, little fishies. Something really cool about it is it is a picture disc, so it's got the fish head on the front and a track listing on the back with the woman. Mother Mother is a band that the very first video on this channel was a Mother Mother review of one of my favorite albums of the year. Mother Mother's Grief Chapter. Sadder album, but I highly suggest it. We've all faced death recently because of COVID, and I think albums about death recently have really been hitting in a certain way, whether it be Mother Mother's Grief Chapter or MGMT Loss of Life. Both incredible albums this year that I highly, highly suggest. Even just like one of them, my friend Luke, so shout out Luke. But yeah, it has 4 unreleased songs kind of talking about like being fat shamed growing up or low self-esteem and things like that, and they really stuck out to me. They really stuck with me, so I suggest it. And then we're going to get into singles. So Halloweeny 6 by Ash Nico. Incredible listen. I've been following Halloweeny sections for years. Ash Nico is more like alt-rock pop. I saw her live last year. It was incredible. Another kind of openly out there trans artist. Goes by she, they. Their concert was incredible. A lot of imagery of like old kind of mystic trees and stuff like that. Would tell like little folk tales between songs. Great listen. This one dropped one song a year for every Halloween for the past 5 or 6 years. Yeah, because this is the 6th one. And they're going to take a hiatus after this one, but this was a really great listen. It has just the music video if you haven't listened to this yet or heard it. They're All Around Us, featuring Poppy. Poppy came from humble beginnings, doing just straight pop music, and got this like iridescent, glowing album on screen currently. If you're not looking, that's okay. I don't blame you, girl. We got this like bright white, like dark. Well, it's like not see-through like the other one was, but it's like a bright, shining white. Only one record in this one, but we have like a full art of her standing on the flaps, and she's hard pivoted from what this sounds like to her newer like rock screamo, grunge. Literally signed to Sumerian Records, who has like Dance Gavin Dance and Attack Attack and like very famous history of screamo artists. So it's really cool to see her kind of pivot that way. And I'm currently wearing one of the merches now I got from her live shows, because she comes to Kansas City in the Midwest pretty often. Like I've seen her come out to the Midwest out here 4 or 5 times now. I've seen her live at least 4 times. Yeah, so I love seeing a local Midwesterner make it pretty big and be touring the country. It's awesome. Next. Charli, XCX, and Kesha, Spring Breakers. I talked about this a little bit earlier. Incredible song, still stuck in my head. Oh my god, seeing 2 like long-time party girls on a song together and just bring the energy over these years finally built up to such a cathartic, amazing single. Highly, highly suggest this one. Kesha's really been coming back for me. 2 Year Itch by Girly. I highly suggest don't listen to the song without the video first, because the video really puts a different punch in this song. It's a really good video about struggling with being with somebody for longer term. The song title is reference to being with somebody for 2 years, and after the 2nd year or so, feeling like afraid of commitment and really facing that. Now knowing that she has a longer partner and they've been together for a while, really cool. I love that. So they kind of faced it through their music and with their partner. Next artist is Fairy Baby, spelled F-A-E-R-Y-B-A-B-B-Y-Y. F-A-E-R-Y-B-A-B-Y-Y. Yeah. 2 singles here, do a double, because it's the same artist. Darlin' and One of the Guys. All her music, because it's very like analog, like we unearthed it from time type feeling to it, and or TikTok ad a little bit, like a bit of a blend of both for music videos. Highly suggest it. It really sends you into a certain space, headspace, that you're like, oh, this feels like an 80s song, but like a pop 80s song we just dug up. In the Party by Dev Lemons. Dev Lemons famously from YouTube, and goes with the band Queef Jerky, like a joke band, kind of a more comical band. I might cover them eventually and how weird their albums are. But this song is pretty straightforward, like indie pop alt type song. It's very slower than her usual stuff. It's not as upbeat. Yukimi featuring Little Dragon. Little Dragon's the one I really honed in on here. Break Me Down. I've been following Little Dragon for years. One of my favorite songs of all time is with Little Dragon in it. Gorillaz featuring Little Dragon. Empire Ants. I feel like every time I listen to it, I can dissect it into thinking about like how capitalism works and how ants, in comparison, like we are all part of a colony that builds up capitalism until it eventually falls. Whether it be wider term or just individual sections, until I think eventually it has to. We can't exponentially grow forever. So Little Dragon is a very ethereal pop band. Yeah, I would highly suggest listening to a certain type of vibe if you smoke. Featuring with the artist Subi Club. Artist spelled Tsubi. This is like more of a very, very much hyper pop artist. The songs are called, the band's called Subi Club, and the songs are called Laced Up and Burbank House. We have another double here, but both come together that make a great, like 3 minutes at most, I think, hyper pop listen, because a lot of hyper pop songs are super short. So highly suggested if you're into hyper pop and you want to get into all that. I want to eventually go like talk about 100 Gex and like the history of hyper pop in this channel, but it's definitely gonna be a longer video. We only have a few left, y'all. So, 7 Stories Up and the song Slut Era, both by the artist Annie Hamilton. This is what artists kind of stumble across, more like a, like vibey, very spacey femme singer. Like alt pop, a little more stripped back than like Halsey, or definitely more stripped back than Tilly. More like singer-songwriter type focused, I'm looking forward to the album she's coming out with soon, and I'll kind of get back to you on how that works. Kickin' by IDK. IDK is one of the few artists I've had the pleasure with interacting with on Twitter, and he's a pretty nice guy. This song is more straightforward rap song. It's pretty good. Not a lot to say about it, not a lot to hate about it. It's just pretty good. And then Timeless by The Weeknd and Playboi Carti. I kind of put some of the bigger artists, especially for singles, in the lower end, because I really like highlighting smaller artists. The Weeknd and Playboi Carti I've followed for a few years now, at least Playboi Carti a year, so Weeknd at least 3-5 years. I'm looking forward to the rest of his trilogies coming out soon. He has 2 of these 3 albums out for this current trilogy he's working on. But the song was okay, and I felt that way for The Weeknd for a while. Especially once Blinding Lights really hit it big, I feel like a lot of people just kind of see him in one way, where I'm like, oh, it's just that guy's in Target radio, Walmart radio. And I kind of hate when some artists get to that level, because even though I still appreciate the music, I still like the song Blinding Lights. I feel like it's just never going to be the same anymore. You know, it's like we've all collectively agreed that the song was overplayed for a little bit after the Super Bowl. So that makes me worry for Kendrick playing at Super Bowl next year. Like, oh, are they going to start overplaying the top Kendrick Lamar songs like Swimming Pools and stuff like that until we're all sick of it, like just as a collective, as a humanity? And I'm not looking forward to that. But I'm always happy to see success and see somebody like get that big, where like they get on a bigger stage, especially somebody who's like a conscious rapper. So, that's everything I got for you today. I'm gonna go pick up some medicine, probably just edit these 2 sides of where I got cut off from my storage, clip these together. Coming up soon, I'm gonna talk about an Eminem album I actually like. I like Eminem, suckers. For everybody who was commenting on my Death of Slim Shady video. But yeah, I'm gonna talk about my favorite Eminem album and why I think it's better than the newest one. And I'm also gonna cover those newest deluxe songs that he dropped for the Death of Slim Shady, because why not? So I'll see you soon. I have the video already filmed. You're just gonna see that edited, in contrast to this one, within the next 3 to 5 days. Whenever I get to it, 3 to 5 business days, it will ship to you. Good night, kelpies.